Welcome to knittingboard.com. We're going to do some decreasing on the knitting board. So let's look at the basic way to decrease on the knitting board. When your pattern calls for decreasing on the knitting board, what you want to do is decrease at both ends or maybe just one end, depending on the shaping that you're doing. The basic decrease simply is by lifting your end loop or your end stitch and just placing it on the next stitch right adjacent to it. You're just, in fact, knitting two together. Let's do that to both ends. Let's say we're shaping it from both ends. Okay, there we have two less stitches. Now when we do our weaving, we're just simply going to start right on that needle and then just continue in our pattern. The main thing you have to remember to do is when you start your hooking, you'll want to make sure you lift both loops up and over your needles. But that's your basic decrease. What if you wanted to make it a little softer decrease? Let's look at another way of doing that. You might want to make that decrease a little more inside of your knitting. Let's say we're going to put it on the third. Your pattern might call for exactly what needle to do the decrease on. It might say decrease on third needle. To do that, you simply lift your third stitch, place it on the fourth, do it to both sides, and then just shift your loops over and fill in that empty needle. There, now you have your decrease on the third needle in. Do the same thing to this side. We said the third. Let's move this one over also. Shift all your other loops over. Don't want to leave any holes in there. And now you're just ready to do your weaving. And again, just starting on the first needle, back and forth, just like before, your stitches are decreased. Now, if your pattern calls for multiple decreases across your rows, then you want to space them out evenly throughout the knitting. So let's go ahead and do our decrease about right here. And that was on our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do the same thing to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lift the loop and put it on the seventh needle. That creates an empty right there. So what we can do is go ahead and move over the other loops and leave the next decrease for, say, on the third. Move that over. And then move the rest of your needles or your stitches in. And then if it told you to do this from both sides, we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lift the loop, place it on. Lift the loop and place it on the next one. Move your loops over. Remember, you're just closing in the empties that you've created. Now you have 4 less stitches on your board. Your knitting is coming in, and now we're just going to weave the next row simply over the existing stitches. Main thing is, though, when you get ready to hook over, make sure you lift both of the lower loops up and over so that all needles again have one loop. And there's your weaving. And again, let's just look at that hooking, because the first one is a single, but that second one has 2 lower loops. Make sure you lift them both off. You've just actually knit 2 stitches together, and that's what you're doing here. Just continue down, and you get to the next one with 2 loops at the bottom. Lift them both off. And the single. Let's go to the other end. Get to the one with the 2 loops. Pick them both up. Do them one at a time, or you can do them together, however you want to do them. Oops, there we go. So make sure you get them both over. And there's the last one. You'll do the same thing to the other side, and you will have a much smaller piece of knitting at this point.